Welcome, PFL Fight fans, once again to Orlando, Florida. The World Tournament first round concludes tonight with light heavyweights and heavyweights in the city beautiful. Yesterday at the weigh-ins, where's the beef? Well, it's right here. It's with these 205ers and 265ers. Some big boys gearing up for some fights. And of course, one shot. Step into the smart cage, win and advance. You lose, your tournament run is over.
Being mediocre is, I can't imagine participating in a sport and being middle of the pack. I need to be on top.
I don't think it's really about redemption anymore, you know. I've moved on from that and I'm just looking to be the best fighter I can be.
My goal is to get my first win in the PFL cage and continue on 2 more wins and become the PFL champion.
As soon as I won the title, felt like more pressure and a bigger want to do it again.
Wilkinson becomes the first PFL champion from Australia.
Phil Davis!
A guy like him, I just like to wear him down and see what other bad habits he has.
I'm aggressive. I walk forward, I throw hands, I'm looking for the finish. I'm trying to hurt my opponent every chance I can get.
I'm going to march through my first fight, USA versus Australia. I am just eager. I've been waiting for this moment.
Time for the pre-fight show coming at you from Universal Studios in Orlando. It's been a great home for the last 4 weeks or so. I'm Sean O'Connell. That's Randy Couture. That's Dan Hardy. Dan is now driving a pickup truck. He's wrestling alligators. He is officially a Florida man. Yes, this dude from the UK. Is that a little tan I'm seeing, Dan?
A little. It's only face and neck, though. You can't. There's no tan anywhere else.
I'm just glad you spit the dip out before the broadcast. That's all.
I tell you what, we got some pictures from paparazzi who've been following Dan Hardy around. You probably haven't seen these yet. That Dan Hardy on one of the Florida beaches.
Oh, thank God for an inner tube.
That's not my face, but the body looks exact.
Wow. Wow, whoever is in our graphics department deserves a raise for that one. That's some incredible stuff. Let's talk about the World Tournament. It has been incredible for 3 events, and we're expecting the same in this 4th with the light heavyweights and the heavyweights. A World Tournament rewind, reminding you what the numbers look like. 24 fights so far in World Tournament action. 17 of those have finished inside the distance. 8 knockouts, 9 submissions. And the fastest of those was 30 seconds in, a knockout. Fastest sub, that's actually really, really fast for submission to be set up. You as a fan can actually go and vote on your favorite finish of the World Tournament so far. Scan that QR code, go cast your vote now. And just to refresh your memory, here's some highlights from our last event. This was middleweight action as 185ers returned to the PFL. Fabian Edwards, Randy, he told us exactly what he was going to do, and then he went out and he executed that game.
Yeah, it was a beautiful thing to watch, honestly, to be able to call that Babe Ruth shot like that, say this is how I'm going to approach Impa Kasanganay, who poses a lot of problems. Fabian went in there and did exactly what he said he was going to do.
Announced his presence in the division. Dalton Rasta, Dan Hardy did the same against a true veteran of not just the sport but the PFL in Sada Busi, former PFL champ at 170 pounds.
What a big performance this was, not only in the cage, but before and after, on the mic, in the interviews during the build-up to fight week. I really felt like we saw the emergence of a new superstar this week, and Dalton Rasta has been telling us that for a while. I think he's just made us all realize that he's right.
And Rasta needs to pick up a weight or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We can get him on a little bit of a program, nutrition and weights. He also, with that win, earned an opportunity to avenge the only loss of his professional mixed martial arts career against Aaron Jeffrey. Edwards faces Josh Silveira, who's been so close to a PFL title in the past, but so far the bridesmaid, not yet the bride. At lightweight, 155 pounds, Gaji Rabadanov and Mark Jacasey, highly anticipated co-main event. And Randy, Gaji continued his hot streak The man hasn't lost in a long time. This was his 11th straight win.
Amazing. Obviously, the Dagestani wrestling on full display, but it's that left hook that you really have to watch out for. He's got great, heavy hands, not afraid to step into the pocket and let those hands go.
You talked about stars emerging with Dalton Rasta. J.J. Wilson coming back after a bit of a layoff. Looked like he didn't miss any time on point against Mads Burnett.
Now, this was way more one-sided than I was expecting. You know, Mads for me is one of the more technical fighters in the sport of mixed martial arts, but he just didn't have any answers for J.J. Wilson's, aggression and well-rounded game plan. It was a really impressive performance from him.
Clay Collard has turned in some of the most exciting performances we've ever seen in the PFL, and Alfie Davis, Randy, did not even let him get started. Spinning elbow and hammered his way to a finish.
Yeah, the spinning elbow, and that's something that Dan, you had said you've seen him execute in practice,
yeah.
And he timed that perfectly, couldn't have been better. Had no legs left on our boy, the guy we love to see coming out of the cage because of the amount of strikes he puts in every single fight, but Alfie Davis was all over him.
So there's a look at the semifinal matchup, Primus Davis, Ravadanov, and J.J. Wilson. Those promise to be some pretty exciting. And of course, you win and advance, you lose and go home. It is a true tournament format. There is no second regular season bout. This is all about the Olympic style. We apply that now to the light heavyweight division. Here's a look at our card, a look at our bracket. Phil Davis, Rob Wilkinson will be our main event. Sullivan Cauley thought he was gonna fight Marcelo Nunes, and instead he's got Alex Polizzi. That fight came together today as Nunes was pulled out for medical reasons. Antonio Carlos Jr., Carl Moore, that's a former PFL champ against a longtime Bellator contender. Carl Albertson, Simeon Powell, both of those guys, tall, long, rangy, fascinating matchups all up and down. Randy, talk to me about Mr. Wonderful, the former Division I national champion wrestler, Phil Davis.
Four-time All-American, Big Ten champion, 2008 NCAA champion for Penn State. Uses his wrestling very, very effectively in the cage. This guy's beaten 4 or 5 world champions in this sport. He's a tremendously well-rounded fighter. He's good everywhere. Will he go out and use his wrestling to take the striker in Rob Wilkinson out of his game? That's the real question.
He has been at the highest level of the sport for a very long time, competing and beating with truly the best of the best. And Rob Wilkinson on the other side of this main event. Light heavyweight champion a couple years ago in the PFL. Last year was not his best. He moved back home to Australia for this training camp, Dan, and he seems refreshed.
He does seem refreshed. He seemed very kind of calm and collected on the stage yesterday at the weigh-ins. And some of the things he's been saying this week I think have been fascinating. Talking about his finishing instincts. He knows when someone's hurt. He can see when someone's tired. Those finishing instincts have led to 17 of 19 career finishes. I mean, that's a very, very impressive stoppage ratio.
And we saw those highlights. It was a bunch of knockouts. There was a time in Rob Wilkinson's career where he was considered more of a grappler. He has fallen in love with the striking arts, but we know that he has in the back pocket all that jiu-jitsu. Now, you talk about jiu-jitsu, you have to talk about Shoeface. Antonio Carlos Jr., one of the best grappling practitioners in the sport of mixed martial arts, but he says it's all about being complete as a fighter against someone like Carl Moore, Randy.
Absolutely. Here's a guy who's not afraid to step in the pocket. He's got naturally heavy hands, and he'll get in there and let those hands go to get him where he wants to be, which is right there on your back. If you get this guy on your back as a backpack, you've got a serious problem. His submission skills are bar none the best in the game, and he implements them into MMA situations as well as anybody. Former world champion in jiu-jitsu and former 2021 world champion in this weight class.
This one, resumes might not be quite as lofty for Albertson and Simeon Powell, especially early in his career. But when you talk about a physical matchup that can cause a bunch of problems puzzle-wise for the rest of this bracket, whoever wins this one, Dan, is going to be a factor at 205 this year.
I agree, and both of them have got a lot of finishing capability. Of course, Albertson's got a lot of experience, and he's identified the real dangers with Simeon Powell, namely the clinch knees. So he's going to be trying to get close, but not too close, trying to deal with that long-range jab, but also not trying to get too close and eat one of those nasty knees.
And it's important to point out that at 205 pounds, that's where you get the best fighters in the sport. That's where you get the most impressive champions here in the PFL. Right, guys?
Yeah.
Right, guys?
Right? That's right. That's right, Sean.
Here's our heavyweight bracket, because the big boys are also stepping into the smart cage tonight. Co-main event matchup, all Russian. Valentin Moldavsky, the Fedor pupil, Sergey Belosteny, one of the best athletes we've seen in this division, and all up and down again, some really intriguing matchups. Let's talk about Valentin Moldavsky. He is among the smaller heavyweights you're going to find, Randy, but when he fights, you can't tell.
No, he's amazing. Very heavy hands. The traditional Russian wrestling that we see, he's not afraid to take you down. He's got several different abilities to submit you. He will take your leg home with you if you're not paying attention. This guy's very, very well-rounded and a complete fighter.
Oftentimes, Valentin Moldavsky beats these heavyweights by being the better athlete. I don't know if that's the case tonight. Look at what Sergey Belosteny's capable of.
Exactly that, Sean. I'm interested to see how Moldavsky's going to deal with the athleticism of his former teammate. You know, Belosteny's going to know his game, but there's also a lot to Belosteny that I don't think we know yet. I mean, we've seen the spin attacks, we've seen the heel hooks. What else does this heavyweight have to offer? And he's in great shape for the weight class. I mean, you know, as far as condition goes, these two heavyweights are in supreme condition. And again, they know each other. That makes it even more fascinating.
Yeah, some of these heavyweights in the bracket had to cut to make 265 pounds. This one's about 235 versus 240. We'll get, of course, to the tail of the tape a little bit later. Carl Williams thought he was going to be an alternate in the heavyweight division. He gets rewarded with a matchup against last year's heavyweight runner-up, Oleg Popov, who just had a 17-fight, multi-year win streak snapped in a PFL championship bout against Denis Goltsov. And Randy, Popov at his best is really, really nasty and something to deal with.
Absolutely.
But Carl Williams, a lesser-known commodity, everyone in his training camp says that's a guy you got to watch out for.
Yeah, and those are the guys you want to listen to, the guys that are in there banging with him every single day and see the real him. No pressure, no nothing, goes out there and gets it done. And that's exactly what he has to do here tonight. No pressure on him, no expectations. That's a freeing and liberating place to be. Come out, smile, and let it hang out and get the win.
Interested to see how Oleg Popov bounces back after a loss, because he went so long without having to do that, Dan.
It's such an unusual thing for someone that, you know, especially at heavyweight, to have such a long win streak. You've got to wonder how he's feeling coming off that loss and what it's changed about his training for this one. But I'm excited to see him back for sure.
This is live. There's Oleg Popov getting wrapped up in anticipation of a heavyweight first-round bout. Winner advances, loser goes home and hopes for better things in next year's PFL World Tournament. Here on the pre-show, we bring the whole crew in, and of course, that includes the coach, Jonathan Coachman. What do you have for us?
You're damn right, Sean, Randy, and oh yeah, Dan Hardy too. It's great to see you guys. There's kind of this feeling of finality around here, whether it's people that work here at Universal Studios or the production crew or to the fighters themselves. They understand we had an incredible April. This is now May 1st. Will anything be different? Now, there's also two different weight classes. A bunch of guys that have to worry about 205 and a bunch of guys that really don't. But as they did their pre-fight requirements, you had this feeling they knew there's only 8 spots left. And they want all the pictures, they want all the promotion, because they want to be a part of what we're doing in the semifinals coming up as we move our entire production to the Midwest coming up in June. Plenty more coming up here on the pre-fight show and the early card, but now let's welcome in for the first time to this show with more on one half of our main event tonight, Miss Kennedy Smith. Good evening, Kennedy.
Good evening, Coach. Thank you so much. Rob Wilkinson is no stranger to the PFL World stage. In 2022, he won the PFL World Champion title, and now he's here in this tournament to prove his dominance once again. So let's take a little look back at that 2022 title win.
You put so much focus onto one night, one fight. You know, you're kind of addicted to this feeling of being in a cage. Thousands of people cheering for you, going out and knocking someone out. You know, it's just like a pretty surreal moment.
That will do for Robert Wilkinson.
2022, November, winning that PFL World title was one of the best nights of my life.
That is Robert Wilkinson. He's been an absolute destroyer in his first PFL season.
That's a goal. I want to be a world champion since I started. Heaps of my mates from Australia flew over, all in the crowd wearing fake moustaches. It was just unreal. Like, the memories for the night was awesome. It was a great fight. It was a bloody fight.
Nice switch knee. Wow, right on the hook.
Wilkinson was landing a nice right hand down the middle. Blitzing attack here from Robert Wilkinson. You can see blood pouring down the face of Amari Akhmedov. Fight's over.
That's it.
What a fight.
And winning that's always going to be one of my most favourable, best memories I've got.
Robert Wilkinson becomes the first PFL champion from Australia.
I'm just addicted to that feeling, addicted to winning and just wanting to do it again.
Always great stuff from our PFL Origins team. I wonder if anybody's going to have a Wilkinson mustache in here tonight. I think I might have to steal one. All right, if you guys want to check out some more PFL Origins content, go to the PFL YouTube channel. All right, Coach, send it back over to you.
Oh, Kennedy, I need you to stick there just for a second. I have a hard-hitting question because everybody's talking about your bowling expertise. How did you do last night in the bowling? I heard you were very fiery.
What can I say, Coach? I'm just a God-given athlete.
That is very true, and that's a great answer. Now, go get another interview while I continue on right now. Now, we want to know what is the verdict. The verdict, we want you to be a part of what we're doing. Everything is interactive here at the PFL. Scan the QR code on the screen right now. How close can you get to what the judges do here in person tonight? We're going to find out that later. Now, all these fighters understand they're coming into Orlando. It's win or go home, and they realize there is absolutely only one shot.
One shot means the world to me. You know, I've come from a small place called East Acton.
Not other chances, you know. Go there and do your best now.
Perfection, no mistakes. It's one shot, one opportunity to prove I'm the best, to win the belt, get the check, change my life. That's what it's all about.
I think every fight, you know, it's one shot. Every fight is your biggest next fight.
One shot to me refers to my straight right hand, which not many people can take.
It's a great opportunity, and hopefully I'm able to not let my family down, my friends down, and all my supporters down, and I can go out there and be happy with the outcome.
It's all or nothing. It's do or die. So tonight, everything goes into one performance. You get one shot. Don't blow it.
Well, clearly you can see the guys were not that nervous. Well, when you see the graphic, you know this man's always going to be not very far from me. My partner, the greatest MMA handicapper, also at ESPN, of course, he is Ian Parker. I see you went to my my kid's hair barber there. Anyway, let's get right into the Parker's Parlay, the most famous of all the parlays. What do we got?
We're going to start off with Simeon Powell at a -220. Moving on to Alexander Romanov, the signing from the UFC. I expect him to do some serious damage. And last but not least, last year's finalist, Oleg Popov, taking on Carl Williams. I think he wrestles his way to victory, and we cashed that parlay 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, and 2 weeks ago, we also hit the long shot parlay in the first 3 fights of the night at more than 20-1. Where are we going tonight?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think we have another really good opportunity to do it here, and the odds are going to be better and way more long shotty. If that's a word, it's now a word. We're going to go Rob Wilkinson, the main event, to win via decision. Shoeface Antonio Carlos Jr. to win the only way he knows how, by submission. And last but not least, Alexander Romanov by knockout or TKO. Let's go.
I think long shotty is actually hyphenated. I just looked it up. There's some of you out there that don't like parlays. That's why we have the betting rundown. Take me through it, sir.
Who doesn't like parlays? That's blasphemy. Let's go with the rundown. Rob Wilkinson to win on the money line in the premium play. If he keeps his fight standing, he is the better striker. He's got good takedown defense, and physically, I think he's just a stronger athlete. Moldavsky, last year's favorite to win, had a bow due to injury. He's taking on Bilasteni. He's got this everywhere it goes. Give me Shoeface at plus money. He's got to take the fight to the floor and take down more. That's a lot of rhyming. Let's get the sub win there. Last but not least, Romanov Johnson under 1.5. I'll even make that a second premium play, Coach. That fight's not leaving the first round.
All right, you're going to see this man all over the broadcast tonight, but no longer right now. We'll see Ian Parker later. All right, so that's the betting. That is done. There is a man named Abraham Badler. I call him an absolute boulder. a boulder from across the pond. His background is one where people either fight or you get out of the way. And he told me under no uncertain terms, the only thing that he was put on this earth to do is walk inside that smart cage. You made your PFL debut in 2022. How do you feel coming back here, being here, and having such a huge opportunity?
Very excited. You know, this is familiar. I've been here 2023, I believe, for the Challenger Series. So it's an amazing opportunity to do it again. I'm comfortable, confident, and I'm just ready to rock and roll, me.
But guess who didn't exist back in 2023?
Who?
Your son, Killian.
Come on, man.
8 months old, right? How cool is it now to have a son and really have something to fight for?
Amazing. You know, to have him in my life it's a blessing. You know, he's really helped me stay focused. I'm very excited to have him in my life. This is all for him at the end of the day.
I recently read a quote from you that said, I like beating people up.
Listen, I've been beating up people since I was a kid. I've been getting beaten up myself since I was a kid. So I am a nail and a hammer. And of course I enjoy being a hammer more, but I can also be a very good nail. So I love fighting. Fighting's in my blood. You know, I come from a heritage of Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, a fighting nation.
Last question, take me through how you see this fight going.
I'm gonna smoke him. It's as simple as that. You're just gonna see me smoke this guy, man, I'll be honest. I'm gonna bamboozle him. Gonna bamboozle him. It's gonna be silly. It's gonna be silly.
Can't wait to see it, brother. Man, what a pleasure.
Come on, man. Come on. The chairman himself.
Boy, we have a good time in Coach's Conversations. I also asked him about, has he ever had to cut weight? And he looked at his abs, he says, Coach, wait, please. I've been eating all week, all day, everything. And they're all serious there in the face-off. All right, time now for the PFL Roundtable. Bring the guys back in, and we're going to look forward, guys. And Sean, I'm going to start with you to the semifinals coming up in June. Of all the fighters we've seen so far, 17 knockouts, give me one fighter that you're looking forward to in the semis.
Man, you put me on the spot here. I do want to know, no one in MMA has ever said bamboozled before. That's a new thing from Abraham Badley. Look, Thad Jean is a guy who, when you talk about those finishes and you talk about the expectations coming in to the matchup, he was supposed to be maybe an alternate, right? And instead he gets the call, and he's going against a guy with more than double the amount of pro fights, big-time wins. Muhammad Berkamov, no joke, and Thad Jean ran through him. That's something to be excited about. And, of course, the semifinal matchup against the former Bellator champion in a main event in Nashville. I mean, I'm taking the low-hanging fruit, guys, but come on.
All right, Dan, I want to go to you on this one because there's really a quick turnaround between April and then in June. All three of you guys have, in some point in your career, had a tournament style or had to fight back-to-back really quickly. Dan, what do you think is the biggest thing all these fighters will have to face?
You know, I think it's recovery. I think that's the biggest thing. It's so difficult when you know immediately who your next opponent is to not start thinking about how you're going to beat this person. You want to get back in the gym on Monday, but you might be a little bruised still. You know, you need to give yourself a few days just to kind of relax and allow that previous fight just to kind of work its way out of your system. So then when you get back into the gym, you can feel your best. That for me would be the biggest challenge, I think, because I would want to hit the ground running, get out of the smart cage after one win and get straight into the gym ready for the next one.
And one of the things I would say is complimentary to all the fighters. They have shown up very, very aggressive. 17 knockouts. Randy, coming over to you. What do you think has been the mentality that you've seen at cage side that has allowed for so many finishes, which is exactly what the fans want?
I think it's just that one-shot mentality. You got to go out. I mean, these have been great matchups. It's not like they've been walkovers or one-sided matchups. And guys are still going out there, putting it on the line and getting it done, getting those finishes. They know they've got to turn around and fight again in June. So getting it done as quickly as possible. You don't get paid by the hour, right? So get it done, go out there, let it hang out, do exactly what you need to do to get that finish. And almost to a person, we've seen that happen. I think we're going to see that happen again tonight.
Well, I tell you this, guys, that 17 out of 24, your calls have been amazing. I encourage people, go to our social media. We put together in about a minute 20 all the great calls from Sean, Randy, and Dan, of the finishes so far. Hopefully tonight we'll have more of the same. We'll see you guys smart cage side coming up in a matter of moments. Now, this is PFL week number 4. It's the light heavyweights, it's the heavyweights. There have been so many great moments already here at Universal Studios in Orlando. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about tonight. It's about ESPN Plus. It's about ESPN2. It's about the PFL World Tournament. Now. The 2025 PFL World Tournament has been electric through the first 3 weeks, with 17 of the 24 fights ending before the final bell. Now, last week, we witnessed the wrath of Fabian Edwards as he silenced former PFL champion Impa Kasanganay and booked his ticket to an exciting semifinal matchup against the always dangerous Josh Silveira. And who can forget Aaron Jeffrey and Dalton Hercules Rosta? Both future stars took care of business in their opening fights, setting the stage for a rematch in June. And Rasta won Celebration of the Night, paying a little homage to Stone Cold Steve Austin while enjoying the smooth flavor of Valor Nitrogen Energy. And how about the statement made by Gadzi Rabadanov? 32 seconds was all he needed to prematurely end the PFL debut of Mark Diakese. J.J. Wilson will step up to face the former champ in the semifinals as Alfie Davis finished Clay Collard to meet up with the savvy veteran Brett Primus. Tonight, the light heavyweights and heavyweights take center stage. 18 fighters from 10 different nations and multiple former world champions will clash, seeking their spot in semifinals month, June, with the finals taking over in August. The first round for the light heavyweight and heavyweight brackets of the PFL World Tournament starts right now. A reminder, here is the early card, which is on ESPN Plus, starting in a matter of a couple of minutes. Now, take a look at Alex Belize. He's stepping in as we lost one fighter in the tournament. So, hey, next guy up, he'll be taking on Sullivan Colley in the second fight here tonight on ESPN Plus. Then in the main card, which begins at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2, there you see the main event, Phil Davis and Razor Rob Wilkinson, and all the way down, absolute bangers. Fight after fight. Now, one of the guys I really enjoyed sitting down with this week for Coach's Conversations was Simeon Powell, and he had cameras following him around all morning, all week, getting ready for his fight tonight. Throughout the shows tonight, you'll see more and more of this all access with the really long, rangy fighter that you're gonna love his absolute personality. Don't forget that immediately after the fights are done on ESPN2, all of the crew will stick around for the PFL post-fight show, as we will now know all 32 fighters that will head to Chicago, Nashville, and Wichita, one of my hometowns, coming up in June. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time to figure out who has what it takes. There is no more safety net. It is win, move on, lose, and you are going home. It's the big boys, the light heavyweights and the heavyweights, and it all starts the early card right now on ESPN Plus. Enjoy.
It doesn't matter who you put in front of me. Anyone, anytime, any place. This is my home. This is my homecoming.
My goal is finished before the end.
I'm gonna bring something new to the table, and this is the new chapter. When it's all said and done, I want to be remembered.
I'm a better striker. I'm here to shock the world, you know.
I've got one thing in my mind, and that's becoming the best on the planet.
Very tough fight, and I'm just gonna leave with the win.
Razor Rob Wilkinson, a $1 million championship in our 2022 season. And yet he still thinks he's not getting the respect he deserves.
And for Phil Davis, so many tools, so much talent.
He's fast, he's strong, he is good on the ground, he is good everywhere.
Davis lands a 1-2, and then the body kick, and that right cross, and Davis gets the takedown.
Uppercut from Wilkinson, and he's in big trouble. That's enough. He's out. Oh! Robert Wilkinson punches his ticket.
Man, what a finish by Wilkinson.
It is all over. Mr. Wonderful, Phil Davis.
Wilkinson is trying to